So when it comes to Rishi Sunak, there's plenty of reasons to dislike him. I mean, on one hand, you've got the open border. And on the other hand, you've got the fact that he doesn't even seem like a real human, let's face it. But one solid reason to dislike Rishi Sunak, and it's actually something that it really did not get a lot of coverage in the media, but it was probably one of the most important parts of the recent downfall. And it all has to do with this photo here. Because I'll give you a couple of guesses as to who took this photo. Well, at least where the evidence is pointing. I'm sure we all remember this photo. It's the infamous lockdown garden party Downing Street one. It's where you've got Boris Johnson. It seems like a million years ago now. This was back when he was the Prime Minister. And he's with his staff and his wife in the back garden of Downing Street having a drink. And make no mistake, right, when this photo was taken, you could not do this. You were simply banned. I mean, this was basically a criminal offence. Because this was very early during the first lockdown. So you were pretty much locked indoors. And when this photo was leaked to the press, it really did lead to the downfall of Boris Johnson, which paved the way for Rishi Sunak to win the non-election. However, this photo was not taken from 10 Downing Street. Oh no. In fact, it was taken from number 11 Downing Street. Because right next door to number 10, right, you've got the also taxpayer-funded and the very well-protected residence of the Chancellor. And at the time, and like I said, I think you can see where this is going. At the time, the Chancellor was none other than Rishi Sunak. In fact, here's the blueprint for the office here. And what I'll do is I'll actually match it on the screen with the photo so you can just see the angle. Like, it's clearly taken from the second level, right? And it is clearly the courtyard. And it's clearly taken from the Chancellor's office as well. Like I said, if we're looking at it from an evidence point of view, which, to be fair, is probably the only way to look at things, but the evidence really would show that Rishi Sunak took this photo just to use this against his own Prime Minister. I mean, one way to think about it, right? It's essentially a digital coup. Like, it's basically an uprising. But instead of doing it using the military, like I said, it's just a digital version of it. Now look, I'm all for playing it smart and getting information. But this seems more calculated than your typical average crazy ex-girlfriend. Because when this photo was released, and I'm sure you remember it, it caused quite a stir. Boris Johnson was gone less than 6 months later. And this photo, I would say it's over half of the reason why Boris actually went. But what I want you to do, right, is if you ever get the chance to ask Rishi a question, and I know that's quite rare because he really doesn't like answering questions. I mean, maybe you do one of those, like one of those GB News panels or something like that. And if you do, just ask him the question. Just ask him who took this photo, and ask him if he had any knowledge of it being taken. Because either he took the photo himself, which is pretty bad, or Downing Street, which is meant to be the most protected house in the UK, is not locking its doors and it's allowing random workers in and out of the Chancellor's private offices and allowing them to take a photo of the Prime Minister. I mean, between Rishi doing it and some random staff member, I really don't know what's worse. And if you enjoyed this video with probably information that you're not going to get elsewhere, then there's only one thing to do, and that is to join the 35,901 of us, as well as checking out this pretty mad video on screen.
This country has gone crazy.